Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it. Greetings, Algo artisans. Nick here, and it is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. We had a couple of reasons not to do a show yesterday. One was a family emergency. Everything is fine. I appreciate the concern, but I had to handle something yesterday afternoon. Also, it was a pretty wild day. We had the Iran war. A lot of people thought it would wrap up by Monday, and it didn't. So markets went wild. So today we're going to do a bit of a post-mortem and a prediction over the next few days. And before we get into that, please take a look in the description. There's a link there for a free algo. It's a video where you see me build the algo, turn it into code using Grok, and then you get to see the tools that traders use to connect their algo to their broker so it can trade without them sitting at the computer. You'd have to optimize the algo before you do such a thing, but it is there and it's pretty awesome. We're going to take a look at the usual suspects today: the Nasdaq, USDJPY, Bitcoin, EURUSD, GBPJPY, gold, and silver. Before we do that, we're going to take a look at the economic data that is scheduled to come out this week over at forexfactory.com. So today, Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. EST, we have the Australian GDP quarter over quarter. Wednesday at 8:15 a.m. EST, we have the USD ADP non-farm employment change data. And then at 10 a.m., we have the USD ISM services PMI. So a little bit of morning data tomorrow for the US dollar to add volatility to the market. Thursday, 8:30 a.m. as usual, the U.S. unemployment claims. Friday at 8:30 a.m., lots of employment data. We got average hourly earnings, retail sales, more non-farm employment change, retail sales again, and we have the unemployment rate. So lots of employment type data this week for the dollar, and that's going to be it for the data. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Nasdaq. So here's the Nasdaq. We actually are getting a little close to a dangerous area in the Nasdaq. And if I zoom out, it's a lot easier to see. So I'm going to flip up to the daily chart just so you can take a look at the general picture here. This is actually the weekly chart. And you have price in this consolidation where it went up all year long. Again, this is the Nasdaq. It went up all year and it entered this box right here effectively. And the bottom of that area is 23,852. And price has been heading towards the bottom of that. And if price were to break below that, there's some support down here from an old move right up here at 22,485. This is going back to late 2024, early 2025, when price made its all-time high at that point and then fell due to the tariff tantrum right here. Well, that all-time high, which is right here, is where price might go to if there is a strong move down. And this could happen as a result of the conflict over in Iraq. So if I zoomed back into the tradable timeframes, in this case, the 3-hour, price might just kind of rock back and forth, stay above this local low of 24,234. But if there is a significant event in the war or really anywhere else, price could actually dump down to 23,893. So effectively, 24,000. Now, if it does that, the next level down, if it breaks below that in a strong way, the next move down will be at 22,478. And that would be pretty remarkable. You'd see a lot of money get sucked out of the market and other positions would close. You'd have silver and gold would fall, Bitcoin would fall, everything would fall because everything is based on debt. So that's what to look out for. Your upper bound right now is 25,500. I doubt price will even approach that, but that's where it would hit its head if it approached most likely. So that's what we're looking at. Probably a grind down, but there might be an event that pushes price down below this key level of 23,889. And if that happens, it would push a lot of other things down as well against the dollar. Let's take a look at USDJPY. This is pretty bullish. It just grinds up and up. And of course, this is in the wake of Prime Minister Takaichi urging the Bank of Japan President Mr. Ueda not to hike the rates for now. And I was wondering why that would happen. It was last week, and it turns out that it happened right before the conflict in Iran took off. So it's safe to assume that at least in part that decision is there to keep markets stable during that conflict so we don't see a major drop down in the US indices. And even though we're seeing a little bit of weakness in like the Nasdaq, etc., the indices are pretty stable for the fact that we are in a war at this time. So I think this will continue to crawl up in this environment. The upper bound right now is 159.275. That's 159.275 Japanese yen to the dollar. So if price hits that, it might go ahead and knock its head, but I think it'll continue to try to break that And if it does, it might just go slightly above. I don't think we have a ton of room for this to go up this week, but that's what I expect. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been heading down for quite some time. And if you look at this move going all the way back to February, it's remained between about 60,000 and 72,000. And really it's in a bit tighter of a range, say 62,600 up to that 72,000 level. So price is just bopping back and forth, getting a little steam on it. There should be some kind of a pop-up at some point. I don't know if we will see it this week. I put this arrow here and it could happen sooner. There's always a chance we see a pop-up sooner than that. Something like this, right? It's in the cards to happen. Doesn't mean it will happen, but it could happen. If it doesn't, it'll just go sideways, maybe knock its head on 72,200. And if there's an event, like we talked about with the stock market and everything else, this could get dragged down as a surprise local support at about 58,000. And of course, there's a psychological support at 60,000. A bad enough event would take it lower. That's what we're looking at for now. Let's take a look at the euro. Big move down on the euro overnight and with the market open, and then all three yesterday and overnight, stabilizing today. So you actually have a new lower bound. You have a lower bound sitting at 115,296. I think price might recoil up from such a big move. It might have to just run back up and grab liquidity. It could be as low as 116.64, right? That could happen. Let me rephrase that. 116.66 is that number. So price might swipe that, and then we're going to see what it does. It might come back down and create some kind of a double bottom in this general area, and then we're going to see if it actually heads back up. But there's a lot of bearishness in the euro right now. We're going to see if it has the power to punch through that lower bound. I don't think it will, but it's quite possible. It's just such a big move down. Chances are it's going to stabilize and then choose a direction later this week or early next week. So the lower bound again is 115.30. Local upper bound is around 116.66. It is a liquidity area. And then if it breaks above that, then you're looking at a lot more liquidity up at 117.41, which could happen. You could see price actually break above that local area and grab some more liquidity up here. It's very possible. I don't think it's going to happen, but as price approaches that, I'll have a better look. And of course, it could just simply head down. It's always possible, but right now, that's what I see. Let's take a look at the beast, GBPJPY. Not expecting a lot out of this pair right now. I think it's going to stay between 209.20 and 212.14 yen to the pound. I think price will just bounce back and forth in this area for now. Of course, anything can happen, but that's what I expect. Let's take a look at gold and silver. These were slammed down, and talking to V the Gorilla, this was done on purpose. Gold's been bullish, wanted to continue to grab its highs. We're in a tricky geopolitical climate with a war in the Middle East, so it's going to want to climb even more. Gapped up on Sunday, you can see right here, pretty decent gap up, closed around 52.80, and then opened up, way up at 53.64. So that's a pretty big move just to gap up on a Sunday, and then it's slammed down here in the early hours on a Monday. So whoever is running things does not want metals to run up or appear as a safe haven. Now, I do think this is going to catch at some point, but you know what? This could continue down. That's why I have this dotted arrow. They could continue to simply crush it. We don't really know what's going to happen in an environment like this because you're not really relying on typical metrics. If they want to crush it by raising margin requirements or doing who knows what, selling into the market, they have all kinds of mechanisms they can do it with in the short term, then that might crush price back down. Local lower bound, just your local area is going to have a hard time getting below is 48.35. Next down is 46.46. And then your low from the panic move from a couple weeks ago is down at 43.95. So I would expect price to approach these areas and either bounce or move down and bounce at the lower one and gain a lot of steam. It's going to be hard to keep metals down for a very long time during what might be the beginning of the ramp up to World War III. We have to see how that goes. And as we're going to see right now, silver is very similar. Same story. It wants to head up, might get crushed down, all the same reasons. Lower bound right now, local lower bound is $72.09. Upper bound is at $96.69 where it was crushed. And then if it breaks below that 72, you're looking at 64 as the next lower bound, and down below that is $55. Reminder of what we do here at Algo Factory is we show people how to predict where price may go and when it may get there. And we do it in such a way that we are statistically correct. We are correct at least maybe 60, 70% of the time, depending on your algo. Some people's algos are much better than that. Some are right in that range. And we also win more than we lose when we win. So we try to win at least twice as much or whatever the number might be so that you win more often and you win bigger than you lose. And this is a profitable way to extract money from the market based on very basic data science. We teach you how to do that. So come on over to algofactor.tech. Go in the description. There is a free algo that gives you a preview of how that's done. Click on that link. Watch the video. I create the algo right before your eyes. It's very quick and easy. I turn it into code using Grok. And then I show you the tools that traders use to connect that algo to their computer so it can trade while they're not sitting at the computer. You do need to optimize the algo first for whatever you're trading. We can show you how to do that at algofactor.tech. We will be back live tomorrow morning, Wednesday and Thursday, 8:30 a.m. EST to review the market, see what happened overnight, and make our predictions and refine them. In the meantime, thank you for watching. About half the people who watch this are not subscribed, so please give us a like, subscribe. This is good information. A lot of work goes into putting these together, and we would appreciate that. Otherwise, we will see you bright and early, 8:30 a.m. EST, sharp, algofactor.tech.